Speaking to order, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor to Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you very much. City Secretary, do we have a quorum?
Yes, Mayor, all members are present and the notice of the meeting was posted by 2 p.m. on July 2nd.
Okay, do we have any public comments?
First up, we have Aaron Rodriguez.
Okay.
Aaron Rodriguez, Ward 4, Mayor, Council. It just gonna side with Gio and the rest of the staff on the Zoom meeting and council procedures, changing over, going back to the old meeting style, which means we broadcast the meeting on YouTube and not through Zoom for all the attendees. So basically, they'd be able to watch it on YouTube. If they want to make public comment, they'd have to come here. So there is some wording that the governor had put out for the suspensions he made, which said that if you invoke the suspension, then you had to do certain things. If you do it normal, then you don't have to do those certain things. So going back to the old way would benefit you all much
Okay.
better.
Thank you very much, sir. Anybody else?
Laura Gold.
Good evening. Hi, thank you for taking the time to review everything. I'm just here to answer questions if you have any questions or comments or about the ordinance. So that's all. I use my time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Anybody else?
Well, we had Dr. Rongra, but I don't see him and I don't see him on Zoom either.
Okay. Okay, so there aren't any more there.
No.
Okay, now let's move on to presentations and recognitions. Do we have Billy Jones here today?
Mayor, unfortunately, the 3 out of the 4 that could show up are not here.
Okay, I'll just read the proclamations and hand them over to you, and then you can just give it to him. Okay, here comes Dr. Ronga. If you'll excuse me, and here comes Dr. Ronga, so. Oh, maybe not. Turn around. Okay, while he's doing that, I'll go ahead and read. They're all the same. Certificate of Honor and Recognition hereby presented to Billy Jones on the 6th day of July 2021 for successful completion of the TCOLE Intermediate Dispatch Certification. You got Billy Jones and we have Sadie Portillo. And Dominic Rubio. And William Romero. You want to come and accept these one? There you go, sir. Appreciate it, gentlemen. Congratulations. Okay, we can move on to reports. I don't have a report. City Attorney.
No report, Mayor.
Okay, City Manager.
Just a short. So I kind of wanted to go back to our mission statement. You know, Chris had brought it up about the services. Our mission statement for the city is to provide quality services to the citizens of Alpine. And I kind of wanted to go over some of the things that have been brought to my attention and things that we all see on a daily basis. So literally drove 1 block. It was kind of interesting. Out of all the dumpsters that were available, they all had piles of brush, mattresses, And these are just the ones I took from literally leaving this building and going to my house. Someone's remodeling, got some carpet going on. Kind of know who the couch belongs to, can't assume it, but I really do think it belonged to the corner house. It was outside for so long. It's not just the south side of town either. So John Nelson with TDS provided me some pictures of other areas of town. Avenue B, Gallego, just everything that's kind of just been piling up along the way. It's kind of infested our whole entire city. This is what people see when they come into our town. When you drive in the dumpsters, there's just stuff always, piled up next to them. So we have a growing concern with illegal dumping. We've all witnessed it. We've all kind of had that agitated moment. We've all kind of been our dumpster Nazis. We're like, hey, you can't dump there. You need to take it to the landfill. You need to recycle it. It's become a growing concern. We are currently unable to truly monitor and issue citations. Code enforcement can't enforce something they don't know who to enforce with. Unless you go digging through the couch cushions and pray that there's a piece of mail that has someone's name on it, you really have no way of knowing who it belongs to. It creates a poor economic development image. We want businesses to come into Alpine. We want to prosper. We want to grow. But when you see this across our whole entire city, maybe I don't want to come here. I don't want to start my business. It's just not something I want people to have to come to my business and see. My background is a little bit in criminal justice, so I always believe in the broken windows theory. If you can continue to dump in the location where illegal dumping is already occurring, people just add on to it. You saw the mattress, the box spring, the carpet, the grill. It becomes the site, well, if someone else is doing it, I'm gonna do it. So it just kind of piles up, and then people assume, well, if you can do it at this dumpster, we can do it at any dumpster. So I have no instant solution. Nobody here really does. But it's been brought to my attention, especially with our environmental services, our code enforcement, TDS. It's kind of, well, how do we solve this? Is there a temporary fix? Can we look at doing something? So I did send out one of those, hey, TDS, spoke with Jimmy Gregory, who is the owner, and said, what can we do? We know that trash is not cheap. We know that it does cost us money. It's the time, it's the equipment, it's going around and picking it all up. So we're looking at possible temporary solutions. Some of them may come at a cost. Some of them may be absolutely free if we can piggyback off of our other projects we have in place. One thing that TDS does, which I found out, it also upsets our citizens, is if they have continued illegal dumping in one location, after the third or fourth time, they move the dumpster. So residents are like, hey, you just took my dumpster. They call and they're really upset, and it's a learning lesson for me as well. As it's their way of trying to deter that illegal dumping. It's, hey, this is a hot spot. It's not going to stop. Let's move the dumpster and try to deter it. Residents didn't know that. Now we know. Now we kind of have a little bit of eyes and control over if we're going to move the dumpster, maybe it's find the best place to move it and not just completely take it away from that neighborhood. Working with the environmental services and our bulky pickup schedule. So we're going to do a big push towards going back to monthly, where we do it based on ward. Every day is a different ward. We try to gather as much of that bulky pickup as possible. Right now we do it quarterly, and a lot of people do take advantage of it. One of the things that we've talked about is the consistency is we've done it one way, and now you have to call in, and now you want to do it another way, which actually is part of the rest of the presentation. It's just kind of coming up with that policy, that procedure, and moving forward with it. A big education campaign. We have a lot of new people here. The census says we're not growing in people, but the type of people who are here is changing. So it's having that sit down conversation, and whether it's going through the avalanche, the website, door to door, on Facebook. Facebook is a huge focal point for a lot of people in the city. But putting out that positive, this is what we need to do. This is your solution. This is what it will cost you. If you have a refrigerator and you have to take it, what is it going to cost? It's just my refrigerator. Why am I spending all this money? Well, this is why. This is the who, what, when, where. And then, of course, we are very lucky in that we have an upcoming RFP. The contract with TDS does expire the beginning of next fiscal year, not fiscal year, sorry, beginning of next calendar year. Putting that in there, how do we address it from a contract purpose? Do we address it from a city purpose and hire more individuals who that's their sole responsibility? But then at the same time, do we keep encouraging that illegal dumping because they know someone's going to go pick it up? Do we change disposal altogether? Those are all items that can be brought up for discussion during that process that really need to be taken into consideration. But I wanted it to be on everyone's radar that the city's aware of it. I mean, every department I've spoken to is kind of at their wits end because they don't know what to tell the public. They don't know when someone calls, who, what, when, how do I get this fixed? I just want the mattress gone. You know, I've got a family of 12 rodents living in it. It's hard to tell them, well, we can come dispose of it, or this is who's responsible. Do you know who dumped it? But it's putting those procedures in place. So we have a lot of projects in action. I kind of wanted to go through what all's been going on with all the departments. Besides the budget process, they've been busy. Like Chris had mentioned prior, you know, what services does the city offer? So we have our airport, our tourism, parks and recreation, streets department, police protection, water, sewer, sanitation, recycling, and gas services. Those are all direct services monitored and handled on behalf of the city, but we provide indirect services too. The indirect services are the outside organizations that we provide some type of financial assistance for. That's your fire services, your ambulance services, your public library, children's advocacy, family crisis center, and all your tourist events. So these are all things in addition to what the city already does that we either provide a financial service, a guidance, we put committees in place to help, you know, hey, this is what we need to do and not need to do kind of thing. With that said, it's the quality services back to the residents. One of the big focuses really has to be on our customer service, and it's not just your utility billing, it's across the board. I've been talking about this with several city managers. It's the monthly Did You Know campaign. The one thing we always get a lot of feedback on is we don't know, like, where do I find the information? We understand that not everyone wants to get on the internet. Not everyone reads the paper. Not everyone listens to the radio, but there's still all these services we have available. So it's to provide the residents with an ongoing information about city services. I reached out to the Avalanche and they've offered us a column where we start off once a month and we have that, hey, this is what's going on. These are the things that have changed. Prime example, it's been brought up here, you know, now it's the big PSA with all your citations and speeding tickets and all those payments go through here, 8 to noon, 1 through 5. There's not the going to the municipal court hoping that person's there. We have someone dedicated to take those payments. It's providing that consistent information. We're also going to reestablish the online feedback form. I know our phone system, we went the route with press 1 to speak to admin, press 2 to speak to, press 3 to speak to. And maybe you luck out and you get a hold of someone and maybe, well, you know what, this person's in a meeting. Do you want me to take a message? But putting that back on our website that allows you to fill out the form that was, hey, you know, when are the potholes going to get fixed? Or, hey, you know, really interested in learning more about this border commission. But having that available feedback that they can go in at 2 in the morning when they're watching QVC even, and then they just want to, you know what, I need to address this. They have that availability. We hope that it produces a more positive feedback. We know initially it won't, but these are all things that the public needs to have access to and to be able to voice their concerns. Consistency. The lack of consistency creates public concerns and distrust. We all understand that because we go through it within our own departments. We're making changes. Everyone's like, okay, I'm going to get to do something different. I want my department to, you know, maybe it's the summer, it's hot. I want them to work from 7 to 4. So work orders are going to have to change because we're not here till 4 anymore, or till 5 anymore. It's being consistent. It's letting the public know. We're trying to put in consistent procedures. I've met with all the departments to better understand. Some of them do have procedures in place, and it's just providing that understanding. If you need a permit and you call, these are the steps you have to take to get your permit. It's not, well, do this, and then you do it and you come back and it's like, oh, well, now you need to do this. It's all set up, it's all there. Will it change? Yes. Everything always changes. We don't want it to, but it does. But as long as we try to be more consistent about it, we advertise it, we make it very public, and everyone knows that if I call this department, I know that there's going to be procedures in place to handle my issue. The other thing that we're asking, or I'm asking the departments is, I know I can't solve anything overnight. If I could, I don't know, I'd probably be somewhere else. But having that conversation with, I can't solve your problem overnight. I need to look into it. The results may not be what you want, but let's get the plan worked out. And having that kind of communication back with the departments and the citizens. The other big thing that has been brought up, of course, is all the ordinances. You guys have seen the long list of ordinances that needs to be addressed. I know in the past, the request was to have a city council member. You have a whole department right now who is just itchy to make improvements and to provide ideas. It's just the review of those city ordinances. It's time to update them, just one section at a time. We're having to focus with what's going on the state side, what's going on the local side, and make sure that we're all in compliance. It's utilizing the resources we have. You have a department, they're eager and willing, they want to make changes. Ultimately, of course, council makes the final decision, but having that person, that team in place that says, hey, these may be good changes, or these are things that are going to be concerns down the road. Our current city policies, of course, looking at the finance side, is just our financial report, our budget, policy, purchasing, and investment. Investment is currently on the agenda for this go round. There was no changes to the actual policy that has been prior approved. But one by one, just going through them, the three, financial, budget, and purchasing, they all intertwine with each other. They all have a different aspect where the budgeting has a bit of purchasing reference, financial has a bit of investing and purchasing reference. So as you make the changes, you have to make them all as one. So it's putting that on the agenda. Our employee handbook, our job descriptions. We've all seen it. We've all had these discussions. It's updating them. The city's changed. We're growing. The demands of the city are different. We want to get back on track and make sure if I apply for a job, I know what I'm applying for.
Could somebody please turn off their phone? Okay, sorry about that.
It's okay. The other is our drug testing policy. The gas department is required. They have a very full, lengthy policy. It lays out everything. Why not adopt it citywide? Our pay scale and our pay ladder. You know, you apply for a job. Am I going to move up in my position? Is there any type of transition, of lateral, vertical, that I may see that type of increase? Our certification incentive pay. The police department has already redesigned theirs and it's working out great. Their officers know I'm going to start here. I get this certification, I get this. If I get this certification, I get this. Right now, none of the other departments really have that option. Yes, if they get a certain license, they get that available, that bump in the raise. But at the same time, it's, well, if I don't get it, it's okay. No big deal to me. It's wanting to let them know that they have all this availability and they're not stagnant in their position. The city competes with every other business in here, including the county. And it's kind of one of those, let's just do it right from the beginning. Let's get it out there and get everybody back in. Our social media and IT. We have an IT and semi-social media policy currently. We ideally have 2 social media policies. It's kind of bringing that back in with, hey, don't use your work computer for things that aren't work related. We do have regulations around social media with Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's just taking those 2 policies that I don't think people realize both existed and putting them into the one, making it more consistent, consolidated. It helps the employees. Another big one, and I think all of you have asked about this, is the emergency operations plan. So it's a work of art. It's in place. We are continually working towards this. Eric had gotten all of the departments to get started on it. We did have a few stragglers that hadn't completed the task and the project that was requested. So at this point, it's just combining all these departments into one master plan. The formatting, every department got to format how they wanted. So now it's bringing that formatting into one consolidated document, and then of course reviewing it. This also ties in with the Rio Grande Council of Governments. Right now, they're working on the local hazard mitigation plan. So this is a county-wide, kind of region-wide plan. It involves every entity, the schools, the governments, everyone, this huge plan, they're updating it. So the fact that we've already kind of done our side of it a little bit, we're hoping to incorporate a lot of what we need within the city itself into this plan. If you read the current local hazard mitigation plan, Alpine's in there twice. So we kind of want to jump the gun and get more in there for Alpine. We are the county seat. We are the larger populated area. So we're really trying to get that focus back into the city. There is a survey that was requested on behalf of the COG. It's requested to determine what are the needs of the community. The big freeze. We all remember February when none of us had, well, some of us didn't have electricity. It's addressing those type of issues, the flooding. We've been very blessed with all this rain. We do have the current where we can block off the creeks, but is there something else we need to look at? Do we have a true floodplain map? You know, anything and everything we want in this. The link currently is available on our website. It is open to the public. Anyone who wants to go in there, it's a series of questions. You know, what do you want to see kind of added change? What's the focus? Are we worried about earthquakes? Are we worried about tornadoes? Are we worried more about flooding, freezing, hail, heat? We will be sending out postcards. The lucky contestants are our water utility customers. It's our largest address base. So we've taken all of those and we've made them into postcards. We'll be sending those out, requesting individuals to, hey, please take the survey. They do have a July 31st deadline. They want all the information back as soon as possible. Marcy and Keela have worked really hard on getting this put together. We want to have a strong influence from the Alpine side. It is open, of course, to all of the county residents, and it's not just Brewster County, it is other counties as well. You have Culberson, you have Presidio County, Terrell County, so it kind of encompasses this all. So we're all working a little bit on everything. We're trying to pick up on things that hadn't been completed, moving forward with them so that we can get these type of documents in place so that, once again, it's the information provided to the public. And that's it. The next one is another. Any questions?
Nope.
Job well done.
Got a good team.
Yep. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move to city staff updates. And that'll be the judge.
Hello, I'm Jody Cole, and I'm our municipal judge here in Alpine. And we've had a lot of changes in the world the last year and a half or 2 years, but we've stabilized in the court. We got through the pandemic, and now we're starting to hold court regularly. Although it looks like we won't have court in August because we will, at that point, be issuing standing orders and really have clear delineations of expectations of procedure with court, which I think will make everything flow easier. And so we also have had an assessment from the Office of Court Administration to give us some insight as to some systemic changes that we can make. And it's quite thorough. And I'm happy to say we've already made some good changes recommended. And what I'd like is as much participation as I can get in support so we can really start checking things off the list. And I think we'll be really proud and happy about court business as it starts flowing. And I also included in a little packet a reading about judicial independence. Mr. Paughton has described it aptly as the court is a little island. And so it is part of the city government, but it is not in other ways. So that I thought was a really handy handout that just explains it. So we have clear boundaries and things really flow smoothly. And we've been working on magistration, that aspect of being the city court. And I worked very hard with Sergeant Droy today, and we enjoyed quite a bit of success getting that stuff up and running. And Judge Steele helped us also. So it's been a team effort, but it's really coming together. Are there any questions?
Yeah, pretty well explanatory.
And I would like to come back and give regular updates just for a little while as we stabilize, and then just periodic updates.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Oh, I did want to introduce you to our new court clerk. If you want to stand up and introduce yourself.
Good evening. My name is Alexandra Chapman. I'm the new court clerk. I've only been on this position for about a week and a half now, so my work is mostly limited to taking care of citations, catching up on the filing, but I am happy to announce that with me being here full time, we can provide consistent service to everybody who comes to court. I'm interested in law, and I think that's important. That's why I'm excited to step into this position now at the time of transition, and I'm hoping that everybody will be satisfied with my work.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, I think that what Ms. Chapman and what Judge Kohler doing is excellent work for the city of Alpine. I think the court is getting on a good professional basis. I think it's going to be good for the citizens.
Right. And the court has made a complete turnaround from the past. So congratulations to the team. Okay. We'll move on to public hearings. Public hearings. To obtain citizen views and comments on the second and final reading of the ordinance 2021-05-01 and ordinance amending chapter 18-buildings and building regulations, article 7, outdoor lighting to the Alpine Code of Ordinances. Yes, sir.
Rick Stevens, Ward 5. On the notice of the public hearing, a number of comments. One, while I am in favor of the overall plan to work dark skies, because while I sat on a bench there, helped sponsor that activity to get to where it is today, I am concerned that in talking with Saul Ross, it's not clear that City Council has had the opportunity to speak with Saul Ross. I've talked to the President's office multiple times, and there are a number of items here that will impact them. And I do not believe it's wise for City Council to approve this until such time as the impact is understood there. The second thing I would make is I think it's important that there be a strong resident and business owner education program, because the first change out of the barrel says that all non-conforming outdoor lighting will be required to be replaced within 5 years pursuant to the terms of this article. So that says there's a lot of lights that are going to have to get changed in the city of Alpine. And until such time as I think there's a strong program to help residents understand that, I think it's really going to be important. I applaud what Laura and the Dark Skies team have done, but experience tells me that a lot of these things work their way through, and I've asked a lot of people about the ordinance and they have no idea about it. I've asked business owners about it. They have no idea about it. I've asked them what the impact is to their business. They say, I have no idea. So I think council needs to take some aggressive action to work that. The third comment I would make is, as part of your own procedures, any ordinance that is passed requires to understand the impact of the city budget. And while I know there's been discussions, because I've raised it in the past, that there will be discussion about going after grants and all that. I don't know that the city has actually done a look and said, here's the impact from a financial standpoint about what this means to the city from a short term or from a long term. And given compliance has to be within 5 years, I would certainly hope that's part of the capital plan that includes two elements. One, going after grants, but what happens if those grants are not approved? You'd hate to be passing an ordinance that you're going to ask all the residents and business to take care of, and the city is non-compliant. There are some other items that I think are important to highlight for people to recognize, and that is light trespass. That is the biggest item that's on the table. It says light trespass is prohibited. It is defined as if the light source is visible from any property or public roadway, the light is considered light trespass. And so you have to think about what the implications are for light trespass between residents, between businesses, between the roads, and all of the other items. Outdoor lighting, sports facilities, lighting must be extinguished by 11 p.m. or within 1 hour of the end of active play. And again, looking at what goes on at Coconut Field, I can assure you that the baseball field lights were on until 2:30 in the morning on Sunday night. That was long after play. And so the ordinance does not contemplate what the school district or the university needs to do to maintain that field to get it ready, because the way it's written, at the end of active play. And I would say that football fields and the sports fields cannot comply with that. The other is a technical item. And you go to towers, it says white strobe lights at night are prohibited. And then it says clarification, this needs clarification if okay during the daylight hours. There is a white strobe in the city of Alpine up on a mountain, and that would be non-compliant. I would hope that someone has taken the action to figure out who owns the tower, what the game plan is, and why that white light is there, because again, this prohibits it. And it says, you know, you've
That
got
was the 3 minutes. I'm sorry, Jeff.
that's fine. 3 minutes are fine. I just thought I'd pass that along. I would not pass it tonight.
Thank you, sir. Okay, consent agenda, minutes, financial reports, department written reports, board appointments, etc. Notice to the public, the following items are routine and administrative nature. The council has been furnished with background and support material in each item, or it has been discussed at a previous meeting. All items will be acted upon by one vote without being discussed separately unless requested by a council member, in which event the item or items will immediately be withdrawn. Individual consideration in its normal sequence after the item not requiring separate discussion have been acted upon. The items, the following remaining items will be adopted by one vote. City manager.
I want to make a motion that we move item 1 of the consent agenda out of the consent agenda.
Okay. All righty. Okay, city manager.
You want me to just read them all out?
Yeah.
Approval of June 15th, 2021 regular meeting minutes. Approval of June 29th, 2021 special meeting minutes. Approval of fiscal year 2021-2022 budget calendar. Approval of fiscal year 2021-2022 holiday calendar. Approval of Martin Sambate as city representative for the Alpine Public Library Board of Directors. Approval of resolution 2021-0701 designating the city manager as the authorized representative for the Department of Justice Assistance Program grant. Approval of resolution 2021-07-02 designating the city manager as the authorized representative for the Department of Homeland Security Local Border Security Program grant.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay,
Items 2 through 7.
all right. Is there a second?
Second it.
Okay, motion made and second. And there should be no discussion on it. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Thank you. And information or discussion items. And the councilperson Rodriguez.
Yes, I've had numerous calls on the utility billing issues. Quite a few people state that they get their bills right as it's due, or they're not getting bills at all. So I asked Megan to give us a little presentation on what's going on and a little bit of a better understanding of our utility billing.
Okay.
And I greatly appreciate that. Sorry, I tied them all together. So on our utility billing, just kind of a brief outline of how we got to where we are today. A lot has changed, especially with the water side. So from 2013, when I started, to 2016, the city operated off of what was called the Deering software. And this was kind of a homegrown software. The individual who lived here would come in and make updates. The prior finance director could go in and change things. There was no backup. If the system crashed, we lost it. There was a big scare with, you've got at the time a little over 2,500 accounts and no way to bill, to receive payments, to do anything. We decided to utilize this software until basically our last option. Please take into consideration that this software was utilized by pretty much every department within the city. Your courts, your finance, your airport's still on it. Last leg, but they are still utilizing it. Abel gets the lecture from me with don't make changes you don't need to make, just in case it crashes. The utility departments at the time, the gas was utilizing the Assist software. So the concept was, let's go to the same software that they're using. It's kind of both utilities, one software. Over time, we can develop into one bill. You wouldn't be getting two bills. This is going to be a great plan. It's one customer service support group. It's not calling multiple services. Unfortunately, at the time when we made the transition, it didn't quite go as planned. We did almost lose the Deering software. We actually transitioned twice. The first time was a complete nightmare. Not everything went over. We had a week to get a month's worth of information back into the old software just to be able to make the bills. We transitioned again. When we did the second transition, it was slightly better. None of the formatting went across. So when you wanted to look something up, you basically had to look it up 15 different ways. First names were put in where last names were where first names, names were combined, addresses didn't match. The Assist software is very field operated. Everything has its own little box. It makes it a great method for data conversion into any software. Deering didn't convert like that. The first several months of the billing, it created a huge backlash from the residents. A lot of people were upset with us because you guys lost your little blue postcards. It went to the same billing software cycle as the gas. So it was just your regular piece of paper folded up in an envelope. Difference was instead of it saying gas department, it said water department. Everyone was upset, so how am I supposed to notice my water bill? We've used these postcards for 20 years and I want the postcard. It stood out. It's easy to see. That's my water bill. I know it's my water bill. Totally agreed. We're happy with trying to make the change. We reached back out to the Assist company and said, what are our options? So they said, you can go to the postcard. We recognized the complaint. We addressed it. We get to print the first round of postcards in-house, and it took us 4 days. The reason being is we weren't compatible with any of our software, our technology, our Xerox machine. The postcards didn't line up correctly, so when they printed, they didn't print, pretty. Addresses were missing. We had to go in and manually adjust every single bill so that it would print on this postcard. But we got it done. We did it. Not cost effective. It is a big undertaking when you have 2,800 plus accounts. Every one of them gets a postcard. They're all different in what's on the information provided, how we bill. We're very limited on staffing at the time, so we did decide to outsource. We reached back out to the same software company. What can we do to make this go faster? You know what? We do in-house on our end. You upload it, we print it. If you get it there before noon, it's mailed out that day, Monday through Friday. If you get it there afternoon, it's mailed out the next following morning. Great plan, less responsibility, don't have to worry about it. That worked for about 2 years, 3 years. We didn't have the continuous issues. They do get mailed out of Dallas. Our postal system, love them to death, but they're not very, I don't know how to say it.
Efficient.
Everything goes to El Paso or Dallas or Odessa and then comes back to Alpine. So it's one of those we've had to work with them. Like I said, initially it worked, it was great. And then all the concerns started coming in. Limited staffing, separation of responsibilities, the tools we have available, the training, why are we outsourcing, the delivery of it, you know, our payment options. So we've tried to solve these as best we can. Yes, we want to go to one bill. Unfortunately, the way the data is set up, it doesn't match. I'm a prime example. My gas utility service does not match my water utility service. My gas is on one street, my water is on another. I have two different service addresses. So we have to have a similar factor in order to pull the data together. So we've thought about that. We've hired additional staffing. They are new. A lot of our employees have been here for less than 2 years. Some of them have been here 2 months. It's getting them reestablished into, okay, this is what we need to do. These are how you answer their questions, and providing that guidance. Yes, it is really hard for them. They have their days, no excuse. Being rude is just not acceptable, and it's working back on not being rude. Our payment options. A lot of people get the concern with, why am I getting the late notice? Our bills state that you have to have your payment by the 10th. We print late notices on the 10th. So they automatically go out on the 11th. So it is kind of like, hey, I paid my bill. I paid it on the 12th. I paid it on the 14th, but now I'm getting a late notice. It goes back to the whole education and consistency. We print them earlier because we know we may have issues with the post office. We know that they may not get delivered in a timely manner, but we don't want you on the cutoff list. We'd rather have the call with, why am I getting the late notice? Let us check your account. You've paid. I apologize. You get caught in that interaction there, and you're taken care of. No worries. It's when you get on the cutoff list that it's like, well, we haven't received your payment at all. You can get your payment via mail. You can get your payment, or I'm sorry, your invoice, your bill via mail. You can get it emailed to you. You can call and ask for what, hey, what do I owe? You can stop by the office and we'll do a reprint. We try to provide every option available. And we know we're not going to make everyone happy, but there are options there. I get my email to me. Sometimes I'm good about it. Sometimes it comes into my email with all the other ones and I forget totally about it, and I get that late notice. I work here and I get that late notice. So I understand where everyone's coming from. So as part of our addressing, like I said, so we have designated customers now, our service clerks. They are designated to specific roles. We have ones that just do payments. We have ones that just do work orders, to try to pull it apart, where if you call because you have a gas leak or you have a water leak, that you're not having to go through that whole system. It's like, you know what, we have someone designated specifically for that role. They know the questions to ask. They can provide the guidance. They can help you get your solution. We're working on updating all of our computers. So most of the utility girls run off of Microsoft 7 or Windows 7. It's not supported anymore. Our softwares don't like it anymore. It's hard to keep the updates in place when your operating system isn't even up to date. We've tried to do the whole update, doesn't quite work. They are about 6 years old. Additional phone lines. Believe it or not, for the past several months, we've had 3 employees with no phones. Makes it really hard to transfer a call. We've had to actually bring them out of their office and say, hey, can you go take this phone call? It deals with work orders. We've gotten that all resolved. Everyone has either a direct line or you can easily access them. Our training. One of the biggest complaints I think Chris has probably had as well is just, the customer service skills, how our customer clerks address the situation and how to properly address it. Of course, we have on the job cross training. Our new girls, they were thrown in head first, and they weren't given kind of the opportunity to have that onboarding where they learn, you're going to have to deal with all these issues. There's all these concerns. People are upset. I mean, not everyone wants to come and say, hey, take my money, yay. And that's okay, but they need to learn how to address this properly. We do have a virtual, and I'm prepared for some backlash on this on the 15th, which of course is the last day for your gas payments before the late notice. This was the available date that we could grab, but we are going to do some virtual training. I have contacted an individual who does specific manager / customer service type training. She provides the tools, the resources. She does a lot of interaction. I call it role playing, to kind of have that, hey, I'm going to start yelling at you. What is your response going to be? How do you handle it? Keywords to use. Before we did a lot of the TML videos. You know, TML provides a great source of information, but they're from like the 80s and 90s. Times have changed. So we're updating that. Of course, we have combined responsibilities. We are working real hard at even possibly changing our software to where when you call, you don't have to go to one clerk for your water and one for your gas, that they have access to everything in one place. Of course, the credit cards, everyone wants to pay with their credit card. Our biggest setback on that is compatibility with our current software and technology. We're working with several banks to see if we can't get that fixed. Another easy, just come in and swipe and go. Our postal service, I was informed that Alpine is short-staffed and they actually brought in people from other cities to assist them. We'd love to go back to mailing in-house. I don't know if we'll have a big difference in it at this point because we have the same issues with our gas bills. Our gas bills are sent in-house. They're printed here, they're mailed here, and we still get the, I'm not getting my bill, I'm not getting, you know, it's always coming in 20 days later or 2 months later. It would be kind of the same issue whether we're outsourcing it or doing it in-house. Our billing options. You can, of course, you can come in person, we can mail it to you, we can email it to you. If you have anyone ask you about the email side, if you go online to set up to pay your bills online, it switches you in our system to email billing. A lot of customers didn't realize that. And they'd be like, hey, I'm not getting my bill. Well, you're not getting your bill because it's going to an email. And it's just a simple, hey, is my address correct? You know, we go through that whole list of let's get it figured out. The last little square on the bottom is like email, and it will be checked. So it's just a matter of us being told, hey, I don't want it by email anymore. Can you send it to me in paper form? Not a problem. We switch it over. Of course, your payment options. We have millions, it seems like. You can pay by ACH. You can do it online. You can do it in person. You can do it in person at the window. You can come in the building. We have the Dropbox. We have it by mail. You can send your neighbor. We have all these options. So we know that the public has all these concerns, and we'd love to once again solve it overnight and have the best result out of it. But we know it's going to take some time and some work, and we want you guys to know that we're listening. And it is hard for us because we do see the comments, we do get the feedback, and I don't have that clear answer, but we're definitely working towards it. The first step is getting that customer service training so that they know what words and kind of like things to say. And when you've been yelled at for the 100th time that day, it's you know, having us come in as supervisor saying, you know what, why don't you take a breather, go get something to snack on, get a drink, because we know the next phone call coming in, that individual may be like, ah! And we don't want our customers to react and our customer service clerks to react back. So it's kind of building that all back up. Cora and Gracie were here for years. They had established it. They knew everybody. We've had a lot of changeover. And like I said, we're not going to make everyone happy, but we're trying our best to at least provide the information, be consistent, get the training, the resources. So even our team isn't failed. The fact that we're not providing them with the adequate tools to do their job makes it a lot harder, especially when they're trying to help a customer and they can't even get into a system. So, and I think it's great. This will be on the website for everyone to look at. We'll print copies of it here. It goes back to when we want to open up our feedback. You know, we know that, hey, this person's just, you know, we can't do it anymore. So let us know so we can either work it out or figure the next best step. So,
and this is something that we can also address through that little article in the Avalanche too, you know, maybe
yes.
An update for the public, you know, in the newspaper as well.
So the updates will be in the newspaper, they'll be on the radio, they'll be on Facebook. We're going to try to utilize some of our official website or Facebook sites, our police department, our visitor center. The city as a whole does not have one. Environmental services does. when citizens come in, it's having that, these are our procedures, this is what we're working on, the best way we can help you kind of thing. So we know, or we all hear and we want to help. It's just trying to figure out that where to start and how to accomplish what we need to get done.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the postal service, being understaffed and trying to, because sometimes they said they're working like till 6, 7 o'clock at night. So they're trying their best as well.
Well, El Paso did reach out to us and ask if they wanted us or wanted them to send over 1,000 postcards from like 9 months ago. So we know they're getting them. And then like I said, we paid for the service. They get boxed up and apparently just sit on the shelf. And so we're trying to work with all revenues and entities and so any way we can solve it, it's just hard. There are so many means to do it. It's just which one's best for every person. Not everyone does the email. Some people really like that little blue card so they can, staple their receipt onto it. Some people just call and say, hey, what's my bill? I'll send you the money. We do offer the online. And we do get feedback on that. People don't want to pay that convenience fee. It's not a fee that the city collects. It's nothing that comes to the city. It's just what the third-party credit card companies charge. Getting the credit card machine in here maybe where it's easier, where you come in, it's just a matter of a swipe, put it in, give you your receipt. You're not having to go get a money order or have cash or try to make it as easy as possible.
Thank you, Megan. I appreciate that. I'm hoping that answered everybody's questions and just ask for everybody's patience.
Fingers crossed. I mean, we're really trying.
Thank you, Megan. Great job.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to item 2.
Yes, discuss and review updates from the Alpine Police Department. I've gotten numerous calls on that too, that we haven't heard from the chief, and they just kind of want to know what's going on. So hoping the chief can give us an update on how things are going with him.
Mayor, council,
Chief.
see y'all. I would like to say that we're working on it very hard. Judge Cole I apologize to Judge Cole. My computer messed up over the weekend and she emailed me all weekend regarding the magistrate and how to get warrants done on the video magistrate. And I'm happy to say that I believe probably about 3, 4 o'clock this afternoon, we finally got a video. Was it a video magistrate or a warrant?
I think we can do both now.
We can do both on the video magistrate. With Judge Cole
Good.
figured it out. So
Very good.
that's going to be a huge help to the police department getting prisoners into jail. So, sir, anything else?
Got one.
Thank you.
One.
Want to thank your APD for putting up the barricades in a timely manner.
It's all about safety.
Yep. Because I got the calls. Say, how come I can't get around? I says, well, you're not going to go through that deep water. I says, so they're looking at your safety. So great job.
We monitor, love getting the rain, but it's a little bit extra
yeah.
to do. So
Okay.
Thank you, chief.
Thank you, sir. Okay, item number 3, city manager interim. I keep forgetting interim, but you get the picture.
So court counsel procedures. Things keep changing on you guys. The big issue, like Aaron Rodriguez had brought up, is the Zoom side of it. Your procedures specifically list out how your meetings are designed in the process, and one of the things that we have in there is, of course, the Zoom side of it. So we try to do as much of the work as possible, throw some ideas out there. And then, of course, Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, the Texas governor came back out with, oh, well, September 1st, you're going back to the regular style. Yes, we know, but there's still, you have the options, like Aaron said, about putting it through the YouTube page, having those different accesses. So we tried to change the wording. We didn't change anything else, maybe some typographical errors, spacing, stuff like that. But the main purpose was that intro that you guys see on your packets with, if you're gonna log in with Zoom, you need to do X, Y, and Z. If you continue with this method, of course, it stays very long. September 1st, you'd have to go back and amend again and change it. The second option we provided was more of the the meetings are open, they are public. You can live view them through YouTube. Of course, I believe they can make comments on YouTube as well. No? Okay. Wasn't sure about that. But kind of the shorter version with, you know, everything's kind of going back to normal. We want people here. If you want to make a public comment, you'd be here. But it still leaves that slight availability that if the attorney, one of the representatives, council members, or staff member needs to do a presentation, but maybe they're not feeling well, or they're just not able to come to the physical meeting, that they have the option to also log in, do their presentation, and then log off. So we kind of tried to spell it out both ways so that you could see the difference with the Zoom, the non-Zoom, using YouTube. It's all part of your procedures as a council. This has been on the agenda multiple times, and it seems like every time you guys get to a closing point, something changes, something comes up. Governor changes rules and regulations, goes back to the old style of TOMA. So we just want to make sure you had all of the information as best we could provide it. That way y'all could discuss it, kind of come up with a route that you may want to take. That way Gio can maybe put something better in writing, something cleaner so that you guys could review it and possibly in the next few meetings approve.
Okay, good explanation. Sir, you had your comment at the beginning. I can't recognize you at this point. No, not you.
So
Stevens.
I will send a formal letter to council because you just violated section 55.007 of the Texas state law.
Okay. All right. The 5-year capital improvement, city manager.
So we are a little behind. I do apologize. One of the major forerunners of the CIP was our utilities director. With him resigning, there was no actual CIP in place. They were going off of the prior years. Things have changed. He dealt with the 5 pretty much biggest departments. So the interim utility director has done an awesome job with the changes that I alone am making with the presentation of it. Nothing wrong with the prior presentation. I just am taking the financial aspect of it. If you notice, the 3-page spreadsheet is the CIP in place as of last fiscal year. It outlines everything that needs to be included. I changed it up with giving every capital improvement plan its own page. It provides you who's responsible for it, which department's responsible for it, which person's responsible for it, which funding source it's coming from, but it also designates the years the money would be saved or spent. The reason why I felt that was important is when you start budgeting and you look at your CIP, the CIP in no way dictates your budget. This is your, like, if I want to do it, this is my options. It doesn't mean it's automatically in the budget. It just means when you do your next year's CIP, you just change your dates and move that allocation around. The big concern from financial, remember that really is my go-to, is I like to see that if you guys wanted to do every plan on there, that I would know every year I would have to save this amount. So I broke them all down so that I see year 1, I see year 2, I see year 3. And then there's also if we get the grant and we've already saved 3 years worth before the project actually started, it's knowing that we've saved that money. Now we can apply it to another CIP. And maybe that year, we not only have a grant paying for one, but we've already got enough money to pay for a second one and maybe a third one. So it breaks it down a little bit differently. It also provides a picture. I'm a visual person. I like to see a lot of what we do is very tangible. Computers are tangible. They may not be a whole CIP, but the software that's included, which is one of our CIPs coming up, and it's been in there, it is roughly close to $500,000 to turn the whole entire city over to one software program. So it's having that understanding with, okay, this doesn't affect just one department, it affects multiple departments, and how does it all get broken down, and how do we address every plan? And down the road, it's just developing a whole capital improvement plan. It's the planning for the future so that everyone knows, okay, council's aware, this is what it should look like, this is what we want it to look like, and move in that direction. So unfortunately, the utilities had a lot more work to do. She did get everything to me Friday. I unfortunately didn't have the time to get it all prepared. So I gave you samples of what had already been done. The two things that aren't included on all of them, and I know Rick had brought it up with the lighting ordinance, is the impact. So there is a strong impact on some of these projects. It's continued maintenance. If we do it, it may have no impact. If we don't do it, you may be paying double the bills to keep something running. Our 40-year-old tractor, we on average put in $10,000 a year to keep it going. The new tractor, we've put in just the gas this year. So it makes the big difference in understanding that. So that section of the budget is very raw, or I'm sorry, the CIP, it's very raw, it's very different. Departments, when you ask them, well, what does it cost you to use this piece of equipment? It's new for them. Well, what do you mean, what does it cost me? I was like, well, the maintenance, the labor, is it always in the shop, the downtime, these are all things that are expensive to the city. So it's having that dialogue and getting them to understand that this is a wealth of information that they have, they just didn't know it, and getting it on paper back to you guys. So the plan is July 16th, you would have a completed CIP. It will be rather lengthy. I give kudos to every single department. They've provided the pictures, descriptions, the information. The numbers are a little rough. We're not completely sure how much things cost. We know today they cost one thing, in 5 years it may be totally different, but that's why you do your CIP every year. So you can update those costs so that you know, hey, you know what, this is a really good year, things are really inexpensive, let's get it done. So it's everything from your software. Down the road, it will start including your road projects so that you actually have it physically there. You know that these are the roads that need to be addressed. It's just a wealth of information. It's just getting everyone to get it in one location, and they've done awesome.
Good
July
job.
16th, hopefully you'll have a nice bound packet.
A lot of reading.
And the layout will be somewhat similar to what you
It won't,
provided here?
it won't be, so you'll have kind of like a cover letter, and you'll have a summary spreadsheet, and it tells you what's like, what are we working on, or what have we completed, what's active, and what do we have upcoming. So it shows you that, you know, this is a living document that's always in motion, and you want that completed section to start getting bigger. And then you'll actually have an individual page that has each item, the department is responsible, the picture, the description, and sometimes it may just be to replace 40-year-old piece of equipment. It's kind of, you know, self-explanatory to some, but it's, you really need to replace it. We can't wait. A lot of our departments have worked with what they've had. That's been the forte with the city for a very long time. I mean, I'm guilty of it. My poor staff, I tell them, we'll go recycle the file folders, use the same one, just take off the labels. Sometimes it's just nice to, hey, my maintainer, it works, but I'm kind of tired of having to always fix it. Let's use it as a backup. Let's get a new one in place. So you'll have a wealth of information. And I can try it, well, I don't want to make promises, but if I get it done before the next council meeting, I'll definitely get it emailed out to you guys, or I'll get a packet put together so you can pick it up, because it will be a lot of information.
Good deal. Thank you. Okay, item number 5.
To be honest, I really don't know how to handle this one. I've gotten a lot of calls and concerns, and I thought it best for you to just to speak, Chris. It's discussed the council member residency requirements and qualifications. I thought it'd be best just to come from you, not me.
Okay, so is it the residency requirements or qualifications?
I just grouped it all together. It's just your residency.
Okay,
I think I just wrote the whole title.
basically, my legal address has been 501 South 14th and continues to be there.
That's perfect.
Well, I've got concerns on it too, that you live at Frank's. Frank tells people you live there, your son tells people you live there, and that's the people that are getting a hold of me, that's their concern.
If you want to address those people to you that say my son and Frank have told them, I can discuss it with them. I am not ready to discuss my personal life with anybody here. I do not feel that my personal life or what I do in that personal life is anybody's business.
I don't think we were interested in your personal life, okay?
Well, she brought up my
Yeah, but
personal life,
it's,
but
that's,
so I'm just, that's what
I'm
I'm,
just saying, that's the concerns I've heard.
yeah, but that's a mute issue. The,
if you'd like
What-
to send them my way, I can visit with them.
I think what the charter says, you have to reside in the ward that you were elected from. And it also violates a Texas statute of not living in the ward that you were elected from. Okay,
Does
so,
it say what percentage of time I have to live in that ward?
no, it doesn't. It just, but you know, we just bring it up because, you know, I've gotten the calls and I've, you know, just ignored them for a while. And so, but it came to light. So we just want to discuss it and make sure that we're all on board. Okay.
I can tell you that I'm not at 501 South 14th 100% of the time. But it continues to be my legal residence.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Well, Mayor, the legal residency in Texas is like she said, where she might get her tax statement or where she states that she legally resides. But that's different than the charter that talks about your, you know, sort of basically where you physically reside. You know, the charter is a little different than what would normally be looked at as the legal residency. So it's more like the physical residency. So the council gets to choose its own rules. Y'all get to choose if somebody is physically residing in a location within their ward or not. That's up to the council. So.
Okay. Any more discussion on it? Okay, let's go ahead and move on to item 9. Action items to be accompanied by a brief statement of facts, including where funds are coming from, if applicable. Action items limited up to 10 per meeting after being called upon by the mayor, mayor pro tem. Citizens are required to state their names and the ward in which they reside. Priority will be given to citizens of Alpine and those who own businesses or property in the city. Individuals who do not live in or own business or property in the city limits of Alpine will be allowed to speak if applicable. Councilman Johnson, you had moved item 1 for consent. Is this where you wanted to discuss it?
Well, I thought we'd do that during the consent agenda, but sure.
Okay,
The go back to my notes, but anyways, on this special meeting that we're not, the regular meeting we had on June the 15th, there is an error. I don't know exactly what page it's on, but anyways, there was a motion made by Councilor Rodriguez to amend the original motion by resolution to discuss and consider approving the resolution regarding the West Texas gas rates which would be $4.35 for 3 years. And the item in the minutes says that everybody voted against it, but in reality, everybody voted for it. And the motion was unanimously carried.
Mhm.
So we just need to make a change in that particular.
in the
from
verbiage.
Against to for, I guess.
Okay. All righty. So entertain a motion then.
I would make a motion that we change the word against to the word for in item number 2 on this June the 15th meeting in our action items.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion's made second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Okay, let's get to item 1 then, and that will be Councilperson Stokes.
Me. Number 1, discuss, consider and approve the second and final reading of ordinance 2021-05-01 and ordinance amending chapter 18 building and building regulations, article 7 outdoor lighting to the Alpine Code of Ordinances. I don't know whether y'all would mind Laura addressing Mr. Stevens' concerns at this point. Can she do that?
Yeah, because number 1, he made some good
Do you
points.
mind, Laura? You're the best person to address his
Yeah, and
concerns.
then I think Mr. Rand is here as well.
Yeah,
You need a second on that motion before the discussion.
yeah, I know it. I know it. Okay, so is there a second on the motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion's been made and second, discussion now.
Okay.
Dr. Wren or Laura, one of the two.
Mr. Grant up there. Sorry, Mr. Grant, I didn't see you.
No, he
back
snuck
there.
in
He's
the
hiding
back.
back there, isn't he?
He snuck in the back.
Bill Rand, McDonald
How
Observer.
you doing, sir? Laura.
What question do you want me to address first?
His first concern was that Sul Ross doesn't know anything about this.
Sol Ross has been contacted time and time again, and I don't know who he spoke with up there, maybe, I don't know. I mean, he hasn't said anything to me about it. So,
Can I?
yes,
I'm gonna
ma'am.
follow up with that. I did receive an email this, no, this afternoon from a Michael
Pacheco.
Pacheco that they weren't aware of it. And I did tell them that it has been our agenda, it has been discussed, and this goes back to 2020.
Yeah, it's been, yeah.
And I sent
I've
them the
reached
new
out.
ordinance.
I've reached out to several people up at Sol Ross and have had discussions with different people in different departments. And so I don't know what to tell you. It's been it's been publicized, been in the news, it's been on Facebook, it's been all over the place. So I don't know what to tell you, except this happens anytime an ordinance gets changed. I mean, remind you now, it's not a new ordinance. There is an existing ordinance. So this is just updating the current ordinance. So
If I may, I can offer that the observatory has been working with Sul Ross literally for decades on 13 light fixtures. 8 of them out of Range Animal Science and another 5 up near Mountainside Dorm to have them brought into compliance. Those are the only fixtures that I am aware of that are not in compliance on Sul Ross campus. And well, we have offered to help offset the cost to the university for replacing those fixtures. The last time that we had this conversation, they got back to us saying, okay, it's going to cost $22,000 to replace 13 light fixtures that can be had for $100 a piece. So I'm not sure that they were aware really of what they were talking about.
So, I've been here for 5 years and it's come up every year.
Yeah.
About dark skies, the chamber had brought it up, and so has a lot of the business community leaders. They brought it up, and then of course you, Doctor, you brought it up, and Laura. And so I don't see where they're saying that they are not aware of it. Might be the new administration that perhaps is not aware of it, but the past administration was well aware of it.
By bringing this up and me doing this, was that my place to call Pete Gallego and make him aware of us passing this ordinance?
Well, really,
Did somebody answer that? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is
No,
that my place?
no, but
I mean, I will.
they're part of the community. They get to read the agendas and they get to come talk to Megan or anybody else anytime they want to.
We had 3 different workshops to discuss this, and we publicized it. It's been on our website, it's been on agendas.
I did mention that this was the perfect opportunity to have a meeting and figure out what projects both sides are working on.
Did Mr. Pacheco, when he sent you the email, offer to come to the meeting tonight?
No, I did not get a response. I did suggest that someone attend and sign up to make a public comment.
I know it's been discussed regularly here, but do you feel that there are a lot of people that don't get involved? And I'm not saying it's an excuse, that don't stay current with the meetings, do not read the blogs and all that. Do you think that we've done what needs to be done to reach out to the regular public, and that they're aware that in 5 years it has to be changed or they'll be fined?
Well, a lot of first of all, let me try to clarify what the change is. We're only talking about things that are out of compliance. Okay, and then you have other fixtures that are going to age out, and those fixtures can be changed when they age out. I mean, and it's really kind of up to the council. The council can change the number of years, requiring. The existing ordinance says 10 years, and in 20 years time, nothing has been, very few fixtures have been changed and updated. So, and outreaching to retailers has been tried. The past ordinance, the existing ordinance, I mean, people have tried before several times to encourage retailers to bring in compliant lighting stock on their shelves, but it's all driven by what the customers are purchasing. So there's always that issue of, we can't get it locally. Well, you can't get printer cartridges locally either, so you have to order them in. So, but there are retailers and there are businesses that are supportive and very knowledgeable of it. The Alpine Downtown Association drafted a resolution in support of it. And so, and I believe all you folks have a copy of that. So I'm not sure, I mean, granted, there's a lot of.
Get some clarity from y'all.
There are businesses who probably haven't been paying any attention. Okay, and haven't heard and didn't respond, or, I mean, we invited a lot of people to these meetings.
Well, and it's all been in the county, and that's all on Facebook. They've done it, they've okayed it, and
Yeah.
they can get Marathon and Terlingua on board. Surely we can get out.
Let me ask you a question, Laura. He made a comment about sport lighting, football fields, baseball fields,
Yeah,
going past, I think he said 11 o'clock is in the ordinance.
yeah.
But,
Yeah. Or an hour after the end of
yeah.
play, yeah.
But most of our sport activities are usually over by
Mhm.
10 or 11, and they didn't even have a baseball game Sunday night. Sometimes those lights just, for whatever reasons, come on and stay on. I don't really know why, but
I think the only issue would be, I know the lights at Ross Field, but people turn those on and off. I mean, they're not,
They're manually.
yeah, they're manually
that's the
turned
intramural
on.
field.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
But Coconut Field, I mean, those lights stay on way late and you can spot them the other side of the Girl Scout camp and up at 12 Mile Hill.
Oh, I know.
And I mean, they stick out like a sore thumb.
so you said that Ross had complied and fixed everything. So you're saying that the ones that are at Jackson Field are okay?
No, that's not what he's saying. No.
They're grandfathered in basically, but with the previous ordinance or the existing ordinance, I should say.
But when one goes out and it needs to be replaced, it's gonna have to be replaced with one that's.
It should be, yeah. It should be.
Is there any more discussion?
I
I
appreciate
wrote
y'all
down
help.
the things that he talked about, but I don't.
Who owns Jackson,
Oh.
Coconut Field?
What's that?
Coconut Field is owned by
The high
the
school.
High school.
Alpine Independent School District, and it's
But
managed-
maintained by
it's
Sol-
managed and maintained under a contract primarily with Sol Ross, but the school district helps a little bit. And then the baseball team, the Alpine Cowboys, also do some things with it. Mr. Coconut got mad at Sol Ross and wouldn't give it to him because they canceled the baseball program on him.
Mr. Johnson, did I answer your question about did we thoroughly answer your question about the lights?
I think as far as the sports lights are concerned, it's, I think most of the sports are over by 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Sol Ross games are played during the day now rather than at night.
Yeah, so somebody actually has physical control of that switch.
Right.
So it's a matter of instilling that, okay, that light, switch that light off.
Just a matter of communication.
Communication.
Yeah,
And
perhaps
switch
we
the
need to
light
send
off and put a timer on it.
the school district a letter about that also. But turn off their lights.
Megan, can you tell us if the city is prepared for this in 5 years without taking grants into account?
Yes, the city could be prepared. Are they currently? No. It's a planning thing. If the city plans accordingly, in 5 years, you could have everything out set or fixed, complied with. And then, like I said, it's one of our big things we're working on now, is just maintenance in general.
But
I
you
know.
could amend this. If we didn't get it done by 5 years, you can go in and make it 10 years.
And will this show up on our impact report? If we have.
It actually is currently one of the CIPs. There's a lot of projects on the CIP that I don't think anyone's really aware of. I mean, it is because, and it's not just the city, it's the education program and the cost of that. It's being able to have our code department, our building inspector have that access to meeting with the businesses. What are your options? 5 years doesn't seem like a long time because it will go by really fast, but you're correct. It will have an impact on the city. Ourselves, we have to be in compliance. It's not fair to demand someone else to do it if we can't do it ourselves. We see it with other ordinances we currently have. So you're correct. Yes, it will have an impact on us if we plan accordingly. We reach out to all resources available, whether it's a grant or not, put a little money aside, the city could be prepared. And then the education, I think that was one thing brought up. Most of our ordinances, there is no education background to it. It's not understanding, well, how do I fix it? Okay, I've got the problem, but what's the education to prevent it, to fix it?
Yeah, on that topic of education, we had been working on diagrams, what's okay, what's not okay, examples of good fixtures.
The blue light.
Yeah, and, just different kinds of fixtures that could be distributed through maybe in the water bills. I don't know. That's something that Chris had brought up. Yeah, Chris Ruggie had brought up, and it was a project. So we gathered some information, and I don't know whether it was going to end up just with your code enforcement or how that is going to be. I don't know, but we've got plenty of education information.
And Mr. Hell, that's his big concern. I know he's already questioned people are currently who are building. Are you prepared to make the changes to under this ordinance? And some of them don't understand what the dark sky ordinance is. It's not that they don't understand what dark sky is. They're just not, okay, what do you mean my lights don't work? What am I missing? What do I need to add? One suggested putting like a cardboard cover over the top. It's like, it solves your problem, but let's educate them and get them to understand. And if you've got the material, it's working with other entities to get it out there so that businesses know. And some of them are going to be grandfathered. They've been here for so long. It's just.
What's your overall opinion of this ordinance as it's written right now? And you've been working on this, I know.
I think it's a very dynamic ordinance, and I think it is an ordinance that will allow people to make changes in an affordable way. I think it's something that the city can monitor and enforce and also educate on. I don't want to have my lights enforced. I want to be able to change them and be in control of that. I want somebody to talk to me about what makes it a good light, and what makes it a friendly light, and why this light is causing somebody, why a light on my property is being perceived as trespass, and why it's a problem. I'm a big believer in the education component of it. And yeah, a lot of people don't like to be told what to do with their lights, believe me.
My experience has shown that if people are informed ahead of time, there's someone coming in, moving in, or setting up shop to do business, if they're informed ahead of time about the ordinance, about the lighting requirements, that they're generally more than happy to comply. It's after if they aren't informed and they put up non-compliant lighting, then there's a mess to clean up, and that's where it becomes expensive. And that's where the observatory helps to offset cost.
Right, in Apache, a few years back, I think you were there at the presentation when they had those big bright lights on there, and then they got together with you and put different lighting, and it was even a better lighting than what they had.
Yeah, better, safer. It's a whole.
Well, that's the issue we had with the new laundromat. And Gio went over and talked to them about our lighting ordinance, and they changed their lights on the front of the building.
Yeah.
So I agree with what you're saying, that businesses and individuals will be willing to be compliant. It's the same with sign ordinances. Years ago, when I first came here, there was no ordinance for sign heights. And unfortunately, I have one of the largest signs in the city of Alpine. But now I think 30 feet is the height, and everybody who puts up a new sign is compliant with 30 feet.
Yeah.
And the old signs were just grandfathered in.
Yeah. Yeah, for the benefit of everybody here who might not know your history, you want to tell us what sign that was?
That's all right. That'll be
She's like, I'm taking notes here.
Oh, I know which one it is. It's not your sign anymore, is it?
Yeah.
Well, in a way it is.
Is there any more discussion?
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion.
we got a motion on the floor right now. Okay, any more discussion? No, those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Yea or nay? No, okay, one against.
Mayor, the I wanted to make a comment about what former Counselor Stevens had talked about, complaining that he wasn't able to address the council. Although he likes to introduce himself to meetings, that he's the smartest guy in Alpine. I'll read to you section 551.007 of the Texas Government Code regarding open meetings. And it says that a governmental body shall allow each member of the public who desires to address the body regarding an item on an agenda for an open meeting of the body to address the body regarding the item at the meeting before or during the body's consideration of the item. And Part C says a governmental body may adopt reasonable rules regarding the public's right to address the body. Now, we all know from the preamble that you read at the beginning of the agenda that you tell everybody that people, let me see, the people that want to make a comment about an agenda item can make a comment at the beginning of the meeting. So we're complying with the Open Meetings Act, and we're giving anybody that wants to make a comment about an agenda item the opportunity to do so.
Okay, thank you very much for the clarification. I had read that also.
We're doing right.
Okay, okay, and you want to make a motion? It would be out of order if it's not on the agenda. Item number 2. City manager.
Discuss, consider, and approve resolution 2021-0703, a resolution establishing a partnership between the city as applicant and Bigfin Telephone as sub-recipient to deploy fiber optic facilities with National Communications and Information Administration, NTIA, grant funds in the city of Alpine, Texas.
Okay. BBT's here in full force.
Before there's a motion to discuss, just a little background, we did ask Bigfin Telephone to be here because this is a rather large grant that they're asking the city to basically be the sponsor of. It'd be under our name, but they would get all the money. They would do all the paperwork. They would do all the reporting.
Oh, Megan likes it.
It benefits the community as a whole. I did have Marcy, our grant writer, do a little background research. Not that I don't trust Tucker. That's always good to know for sure. Salesmen are salesmen, but to have that information, it is a large grant. It's one of many that they can apply for. The key thing to this is it does not affect our CARES funding or our American Rescue Plan funding. Some grants will affect that. This one doesn't. I'll let you guys get a motion on the table
Okay,
so that
so
they can talk.
I'll need a motion.
I'll make a motion to discuss, consider, and approve resolution 2021-07-03, Bigfin Telephone.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion's made in second. Now discussion. Tucker, you're on.
Wait, I want to add exhibit A in this packet to this particular motion.
Okay.
You're amending Mrs. Stokes' original.
I'm just amending it or adding to it.
Exhibit A just says an exhibit.
Exhibit A,
Okay.
which is basically what he's going to talk about.
Okay.
Hi, well, first of all, I'm Tucker Gandy. I'm the lead salesman for BBT. I've been with BBT for about 2.5 years. Also brought Ray Ellis. He's part of our engineering team. Just have a quick little overview of what we're planning on doing for the city of Alpine. We're also working with other counties and cities in West Texas. Go ahead. Gio?
My apologies.
That's okay. So just to give you a brief update, y'all, some of y'all might already know this, but next slide. BBT, as you know, has been in business for 60 years. And to tell you our service area where we're at right now, our residential and business essentially goes from Valentine to Del Rio and Presidio up to Midland. 2021 has kind of been the year for infrastructure updates with all the granting and ARPA funds that have come out. And so we were really excited to see the NTIA come up with this grant specifically for telecommunications build outs in rural areas. Next slide. So last year we started looking at our 5-year plan, and our CapEx to look at our own owned plant and infrastructure. And the main reason for that is that we wanted to update everything to fiber optic. It's going to be the newest, technology that you can provide. It's pretty limitless when it comes to speed and capability. And with that CapEx plan, the budget came up to about 50 million over the 5 years in order to bring numerous communities in our service area to 100% fiber. And we're just looking to partner with our local governments in order to use these funds that the Fed has put out. The NTIA is actually part of the Department of Commerce, and they constantly look for information, work with the FCC to find underserved areas to provide funding for those. Next slide. And with that comes the NTIA grant itself. It's 288 million specifically for this, and there's some certain requirements that you'll have to have in order to get these funds. You have to provide a technology that provides at least 25 megs down and 3 megs up on the upload. You have to have a latency of sub 100 milliseconds, which essentially means how long does it take for me to hit send on an email and it communicate with that server. You have to partner with, or you need to partner with a local government. It could be county, city, state, whoever. And so we've decided to join and go to the county separately and the city separately on these different projects. It's due August 17th. This grant was released at the end of May, and there's a lot of work to be done. As you can tell, Megan's schedule is already packed, and so we have decided to do the grant writing on behalf of our partners, but we have to establish that partnership first via a resolution and a letter of commitment. And it encourages future-proof technology. While we do have a fixed wireless option in the city of Alpine, we feel that fiber is going to be the best solution for this. And the grant writers specifically put in a lot of their FAQs that they prefer fiber projects for this. Some other interesting things about this is they're looking to do grants from anywhere from 5 to 30 million on the application. And I'll get into more of the cost of what we're looking at with this, but this will be the main driver for it. While we have set apart CapEx funds for this, this will accelerate the project to bring Alpine to 100% fiber within the city limits. I think that's everything. Yeah. And so this is the area we're looking at right now. The green is already existing fiber within the city, and the purple would be what the NTI funds are allowed to go to, that area for expansion. We had a previous map that included a lot of other areas, but the FCC designates certain areas as underserved and some areas as not. What you're looking at right now is within the city limits of areas where the NTIA can be used, those funds can be put towards. And so that'll be the purple. Right now we have the total cost of a little over 4 million for this. It will be serving, an additional 1,767 locations on this. Something else important about the NTIA is it requires a 10% match from the county or city's partner. We're going to be doing 34 or 38% of that will be BBT funds. The main money for the line will be used for the mainline fiber, and then where BBT's contribution will come in will be to install the customers. In some areas of the Tri-County, you're looking at $1,500 on average to install that person. Cities are a little bit different. It just depends on the density. Any questions on this slide?
Yeah, you said you provide fiber pretty much for all of Alpine and to residents. Now, would they be a direct fiber to the house, or would be copper extend?
It'll be fiber to the house.
Fiber to the house, no copper extend, period.
The handoff from the ONT to the router would be copper, but it'd be fiber to the premises.
Okay.
Okay, next slide. I just want to go over some quick benefits partnering with BBT could bring. Like I said, as you all know, we have local technicians. We're the local company, and we've invested a lot in the local community as well. Our fiber latency is sub 10 milliseconds, as I stated before, and all of our speeds are already synchronous. If you'll remember from the NTIA slide, the minimum speed you have to have is 25 megs down and 25 megs up. Back when COVID first hit, we switched all of our fiber optic plans to a minimum, being our smallest plan is 25 megs down and 25 megs up. So they'll already be taken with that. Additionally, with these pro forma that we'll be submitting in the application, pricing will be looked at in order to reprice everything with the expansion of this new model, which we'll see going down. We're not sure about that just yet, but we're working on the pro forma for that. We have redundant fiber paths. I believe that's very important to say. One of our fiber lines goes up to Midland and the other one goes out to El Paso. So with a lot of oil field traffic up there and pipelines, you do get cuts occasionally. In BBT's case, if that happens, we have a redundant path back to El Paso where our customers will remain up. Okay, next slide, please. And we just have experience in this area and we're ready to move forward with it. We've already worked on a lot of these grants, specifically the RDOF and BTOP. The BTOP was originally put out to benefit Region 18. BBT was one of 10 companies that partnered with them in order to bring fiber to each of the schools in the West Texas area. Of the 33 schools in Region 18, BBT hooked up one third of those by ourselves. Marfa, Alpine, all the areas out here. And so once we get this done, we'll essentially have everything ready for these upcoming grants that are coming out, everything be updated, because this is not the only one that's going to come out. There will be more. We just want to start with this one first. Slide. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions. Because I know it's been kind of a long meeting, so I didn't want to stay too long, but any questions, please let me know.
So I could get this at my house?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you know, rural communities were kind of left out when the main surge of fiber to the house came up in 2000. So it's time that we came up to the information age and the new technology. You know, there's a lot of tech savvy folks living in Alpine in the area.
Yeah,
they're just dying for it.
I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of them. I work with them every day. And I think it's important to mention too that we've opened our data center this month in Midland, which allows information to get from West Texas out to the entire nation. So if we have an industry that wants to move here and you need to get someone back to New York or something, we have a neutral carrier hotel in Midland that allow them to do so. So it's an added draw to the city for businesses as well.
And redundancy is a real key to the whole thing.
Yes.
I know with all the oil companies out there in Midland, Odessa, and that area digging, I mean, lines are getting cut constantly and there's no redundancy. And so people are out not for an hour, 2 hours, it could be up to 24, 26 hours. So this is fantastic that you do have that means to provide continual service.
Yeah, and that's something we're really proud that we're able to do. We work with all the local counties, the cities, the hospitals, the clinics. There's a whole bunch of different customers that we have, and we're happy to serve those. And this is just an added benefit for the residents of Alpine as well.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I wanted to bring up a few more points. Marcy did do some background. So this is a time-sensitive grant. They do have to have the application and everything completed by August 27th. 17th. The only question, so they have reached out to multiple entities. They have to have a government partnership, whether it be with the county, of any county in this area, any city. I think it's a great opportunity for the city. We do have the biggest residential population currently, the most people who utilize it, especially with the virtual learning and changing and all of that. The only big concern, because we compete with you for employees, is if you are, and this isn't a guarantee that you'll get the grant, but if you are, how are you going to ensure that you have the staffing capabilities to fulfill the project?
I think we already do that with the residents that we have right now, or with the workers that we have right now. Right now, we have a group of 4 people specifically that are on this. I'm working specifically as liaison for the local governments. We have contractors that we use even out in South County where our fiber regrade projects are going on right now. And so essentially with these funds, we'll have the technicians and everything ready to move forward with that. We do have to report to NTIA on a semi-annual and annual basis in order to show that we're fulfilling all of these grades. And of course, there'll be reports to the city as well, since we are partnering with them.
I said they do all the work.
Yep. And you answered one of my questions about South County, because I mean, they're isolated down there.
We have a massive fiber regrade project going on in Terminal Ranch right now in order to bring, gosh, almost 100%, I would say. Yes. Within the next 3 years for that. Additionally, we're regrading Calamity Creek. Presidio will be looking to do 100% fiber within the year. It's just different projects we have going on. Like I said, these funds will just accelerate everything.
And I guess fiber's the way to go, right?
Yes, sir. And while we do have a fixed wireless infrastructure right now, we do believe that fiber will be, benefit everyone.
Yep. I mean, copper's on the way out, the maintenance on it, the installation of it and whatnot, fiber is like dirt cheap. So, thank you very much. Any questions? None? Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
your time.
Tucker. Appreciate it, Ray. Thank you, sir. Okay,
The motion was amended to include exhibit A.
well, were you amending it? Or just adding?
Amending it, I don't know.
I think you amended the motion to include exhibit A, so you just vote on that one and then the original.
Okay, so let's go ahead and need to make a motion on the amendment.
Can I make a motion that we add exhibit A to the item 2?
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, motion passes. Now we got to go back to the original motion, correct, Jill? Okay, all those I'll entertain a motion then.
So it's just voting on the original motion.
Okay, now we're gonna vote on the original
So you
motion.
can go ahead and vote because it was seconded by Councilor Jan.
Okay, good. So all those in favor of the original motion, raise your right hand. And opposed, like sign, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, let's get down to item 3. Councilperson Stokes.
Number 3, discuss, consider, and approve resolution 2021-07-04, resolution authorizing the city of Alpine to accept a donation from Dr. Avinash Ranga of trees and memorial plaques to be placed at American Legion Park and the dog park area at Coconut Park. And I would like to go on and add these maps on.
Thank you.
Wow. So we don't have to do it in a minute.
Okay. Mayor, you're on, sir.
We need to second the motion.
Yeah, we need to second the motion.
I'll second it.
Second it? Okay. This is Dr. Avinash Ranga, and also he was a former mayor of the city.
Thank you, Mayor, and the council members. Congratulate all the new council members and the old one also. Again, appreciate you giving me the opportunity to make this little presentation. I don't know how much the total cost is going to be for 17. How many trees we have? 17 or 19? Something like that. But I have a check here, Mayor, if you like to accept.
By all means, we'll take any money if we can.
And whatever the additional cost will be, I will write a check for that.
Okay.
And these trees that we are going to be planting is in honor of a few people, a couple of local friends, the ones I have met long time ago, who passed away, not because of COVID. Catherine Stokey, I had known her for a long time, ever since I came here. Came here in '67. And Lorraine Westerman, a fine lady. She is a member of the Lions Club. Then my elder brother, he passed away a month ago. And then brother of my wife, Anju. So these 4 people will be honored with these trees. And so again, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to make this presentation. And so as soon as I find out what the total cost is, we will then cover all that.
We thank you very much on behalf of the council and the city. Any questions to Dr. Ranga?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to come in?
I will come in
Take the
and
check,
take,
or you
oh,
want me
I'll
to
take that.
Mail it.
Does it have my
It'll be in
name
the
on it?
mail all day.
I didn't hear that.
I didn't say that.
Thank you. Doctor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir. And I will hand it over in front of witnesses. I'll pass it down.
I trust you. I trust you.
Thank you,
There you
Dr.
go.
Ron.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next one, item 4, city
just
man.
have to make-
Oh, I'm sorry. We have to vote on this
We have to
now.
vote on it.
Okay, all those in favor of accepting the donation from Dr. Runga, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you all very much. Thank you, doctor. Okay, item number 4.
Discuss, consider, and approve resolution 2021-0705, a resolution adopting an investment policy regarding funds for the city of Alpine and provisioning an effective date. We are required to approve our investment policy every year. It would be beneficial to actually approve it before the start of a fiscal year, or at the beginning of a fiscal year. We typically have done it in the budget process. This item will come back up towards the end of this fiscal year for the next fiscal year. There are no changes to the policy that was previously approved. It's just a requirement that we review it, look it over if there's any questions, to discuss it. That way they can all be addressed.
Okay, I'll entertain the motion.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2021-07-05, a resolution adopting an investment policy regarding funds for the city of Alpine and provisioning an effective date.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a second discussion. No discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, it's unanimous. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, item number 5.
Discuss, consider, and approve appointments for planning and zoning commission vacancies, 1 at-large position and 1 Ward 2 position. We did break it down into 3 different, it will be 3 different votes. A, Rick Stevens, recommended by planning and zoning, 4 affirmative votes, 1 against. B, Deborah Durden, recommended by planning and zoning, unanimously recommended. C, Lucy Escobedo, recommended by planning and zoning, unanimously recommended.
Okay, so we'll start with A. Entertain a motion on this.
I make a motion that we discuss, consider, and approve appointing Rick Stevens to the planning and zoning.
Okay, is there a second? Is there a second? There is no second. Motion dies. Let's go to item B. I'll entertain a motion.
I have a problem with B. Or is discussion over? Are we through with
Yes, we
discussion?
already voted on it. We're on item B. And I'm asking for a motion.
I'd make a motion that we discuss, consider, and approve the appointment of Deborah Dearden to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion's made. Second discussion.
I have one, just, this is information for the council. I think it's her husband who is in code enforcement, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Which may or may not create a conflict of interest between her husband being in code enforcement and her being on planning and zoning. FYI for the council.
Okay,
It would, to the extent if a matter came before planning and zoning for a variance or something that dealt with code enforcement. A lot of what planning and zoning does wouldn't be dealing with the variance. I guess he could recuse himself or withhold consideration. But
I think she needs to be made aware that that is a conflict. She marked, there was no, she had no, that she didn't have anything to do with the city, and she does. She lives with him and spends our paycheck. She has a direct impact on their household.
But I think what Rod is saying is that even though her husband could recluse himself for anything that might.
if she's appointed, I misstated, if
Okay.
she's appointed, it would be her recusing herself as a board member at planning and zoning on matters that
That he
would be
might-
brought by her husband, but a lot of the things that planning and zoning are brought by the city staff. And ask Megan and Gio about that, isn't that
I wouldn't think
basically
so.
true?
The code compliance and building inspector do bring a lot of things before planning and zoning. I don't know if abstaining or recusing herself from certain things may cause issues down the road if there's not a proper quorum present for her to do that.
So I think we should table this until she's informed about it. And then we can revisit it. I mean, that's up to the.
If
to the
it
council.
were a different city board, you know, that her husband wouldn't be appearing before, it's not necessarily that issue.
I make a motion that we table.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor right now. So, yeah, go ahead. You can do that now.
I
I'm
make a
sorry.
motion that we table this matter until further discussion
Right, and
with Ms. Judy.
yeah, and meeting with her and informing her of possible conflict. Okay? Is there?
I
there's-
second it.
Okay, motion made and second to table it. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, 4-4, and you abstaining?
I'm
Or you voting?
against.
Against and 1 against. Okay. Let's go to Lucy Escobedo item.
I think you just want to do that original motion.
What's that?
The original motion, vote on the original as well. So you did the amendment, right?
To table it.
Yeah, but we have vote on the original.
Okay, so you want to vote on the original motion? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's vote on the original motion. We've discussed it already. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed?
I guess I'm opposed to it.
Okay.
Because I'm voting for the-
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna table it, yeah.
So I'm opposed to that.
Okay, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unanimous. Okay, items, let's go to C. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we recommend Lucy Escobedo for the planning and zoning committee.
Okay. Motion's made in second. Any discussion?
The only thing I have on that is she not on the parks?
Mhm.
Yes.
And I just feel that maybe we should give other people a chance to get involved. You know, allows other people to join these boards instead of just the same one carrying on in different boards.
Well, some of the problem is that as filling these positions that we don't have enough folks that volunteer for them.
And she was unanimously
Yeah, and
suggested by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
So was Mr. Stevens, well, except for one.
but, okay, so any more discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, and 1 abstaining, 1 against.
One against.
Against, okay. All righty. Let's go on to item 6.
Discuss, consider, and approve job description for city manager and city secretary. Included in your packet are both those updated.
Entertain a motion. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the job descriptions for city manager and city secretary.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, there's a couple of seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous, thank you. Let's go to item 7.
A motion to discuss, consider, and approve the internal transfer of interim city secretary Jeffrey Calderon to full-time city secretary.
Okay, is there a second? Second. Okay, it's a second discussion.
I think Gio's done a great job and he deserves to be in it, moving up.
I agree with that statement as well.
Okay,
I was gonna say that he's proved his ability to handle that position.
okay. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, like sign, motion carries. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
And he does do
And
a.
you could pay you more.
And Gio does a fantastic job. Anytime you need something, within a few minutes, it's there. So
Thank you all so much.
We'll give him
congratulations
lots of
again.
work.
I'm ready.
Okay, item 8.
Discuss, consider, and approve the contract for interim city attorney. I know that he was put in the position back on June 1st. But from a financial documented perspective, a contract is being requested. It is in your packet. It is for an interim position. It is not for a full city attorney position. So you'll see interim in there multiple places.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the contract for interim city attorney.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion made and second. Now discussion. See no discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, and you're opposed. Okay, it's 4-1. Let's go to item number 9.
Discuss, consider, and approve the recommendation from the Airport Advisory Board for a new lease allowing Customs and Border Protection to build a helipad. A little background, this has gone back and forth between TxDOT Aviation, prior management, Able, the advisory board. Once again, it's clarifying the procedures. It's to build an airpad or helipad that would be accessible to Customs and Protection. It would not be a public helipad available to everyone. They're leasing the ground. All of our leases out there are specifically for the ground, not for what goes on top of it. So we're allowing them basically a section of our airport so that they can put in a helipad so that they have easier access to their current building. And the movement of helicopters is kind of reduced.
Okay. They have how many helicopters there? Just
I know
the one?
They used to have
Able?
two.
Okay.
They don't have a pad out at their building.
No, man.
No, they use.
No, they currently pull it out to the ramp. Take off. So it takes up, sometimes it takes up a couple of spaces.
Mhm.
So what do you think about them?
Okay, so wait. We need a motion first. Okay, I'll entertain the motion.
I make a motion, we discuss, consider, and approve the recommendation from the Airport Advisory Board.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, now we'll discuss.
Okay, no. Now this helipad would they're just leasing the land on the top, and will it interfere with anything? No.
It will actually reduce some of the interference because they won't be utilizing our ramp, which is open to the public.
Is the location of the helipad within the airport master plan? So it's not taking up something that we have planned for in the
That's
future?
where TxDOT Aviation was called in the FAA to ensure, despite it not being specifically in the plan, but that it was acceptable.
Okay.
So it's been cleared on all of those aspects.
Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. And we'll go to city council comments, and we'll start with my right side. Councilman Stokes, Councilperson Stokes.
I don't have a lot of comments. Congratulations. And I think we've had a good meeting. I think it's been good. That's all I have to say.
Okay, Councilman Rodriguez.
No comments.
No comment? Okay. Council
I
Tandy.
can congratulate you on your position, and thank you for always having a happy disposition every time people walk in. It creates a very warm atmosphere. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jill.
Thank you.
Ron. And my congratulations also to Gio and Ron. And I wanted to thank Dr. Rongro for his willingness to plant these trees. We don't have enough trees in Alpine.
That's right.
And I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And thank you, Dr. Rhonda. I mean, those trees mean a whole lot to Alpine. And thank you for the contribution and remembering those folks, your brothers and sisters. Jill, congratulations. I like the smile too, because you're always smiling. And believe it or not, it kind of filters into the rest of the office.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
I want to just add to mine. I will be at a Texas state legislative meeting for the week of the 18th, I think, through the 22nd or something. So I won't be at the next meeting. But I've got to fulfill my legislative duties to my elected position.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Mayor?
And Rod has a comment.
Yeah, in the airport realm, I got a question from a hangar owner that built a couple of expensive hangars out there that apparently had a named Woodward who had a couple of nice hangars, and apparently it was part of the capital improvement plan to pave the ramp in front of his hangars. But he was complaining that he had dirt in front of his hangars, and that Councilor Stevens had pavement in front of his two hangars. So he's just thought he'd bring that up to the council.
Okay.
Ron, I've addressed this with Kate. I talked to Kate today. And
It's on the agenda, guys. So we really shouldn't-
I'm not for discussion. I'm just mentioning so it could be placed on the agenda. So that-
Okay, well, we can bring it up for discussion next meeting. Okay, and we're gonna be going to executive session, so I'll entertain a motion to,
Make a motion, we recess into executive session at 7:35.
okay, so we need a break here. Let's vote on the motion first. All those in favor,
It's 7:35.
Yes, ma'am.
all those in favor of the motion to recess for,
We're not recessing then.
we just, huh?
We're recessing into executive session. We can't.
I'll
discuss
second
it.
it.
Right.
Yeah,
But if it's 7:35, no, we're not taking a break. We're just going.
well, you can take a
Well,
break. You can take a break right now if you want.
I would like to make a motion. We take a break.
I'll amend the motion to include a break.
Okay, there you go. Okay,
Have you heard what's happening over at Alpine Retirement Community?
I have heard a few things about it.
Okay, yeah, because I don't even know if it's legal.